Today's guest is Emme Hughes of EH Metalworks in Enid, Oklahoma. Emmy's a little different from our typical shop owner guest.
I started my fabrication business when I was 18. It all just rolled together of, being in the shop, working on the race car,
Right.
Fixing the cage on the race car, tigging it, and I've welded since I was 6.
Yeah.
And I've been in business 4 years now. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have anything. I just knew that I loved, working with metal, being able to carry on a legacy and hang out with my pawpaw.
From industry-leading tube lasers and benders to high-performance sheet lasers and press brake systems, BLM Group delivers more than machines. Automation, software, and application expertise come together to create fully integrated production solutions, backed by training, service, and support to keep your operation running at its best. Smarter software, seamless connectivity, systems designed to work together and streamline production at every stage. One partner, more possibilities. BLM Group. And now, back to the episode.
Hello, welcome to the Fabricator Podcast. My name is Dan Davis with the Fabricator Magazine.
I'm Lincoln Bruner with the Fabricator and the Tube and Pipe Journal.
We're here at Clearwater Beach, Florida for the FMA annual meeting. Today's guest is Emme Hughes of EH Metalworks in Enid, Oklahoma. Emmy's a little different from our typical shop owner guest from the standpoint that she's 23 years old.
I'll tell you what, and she's got such a great perspective because she's already been doing it for 5 years.
Yeah. But a story that's not so unusual in terms of working with her grandfather, cutting her teeth on the metal fabricating world by being a part of sprint car racing.
Yeah, I mean, so many people in this industry get involved with welding and metal cutting just because they're putting race cars on a track, and it was inspiring to hear her talk about how she would just follow him everywhere and just riding in the pickup with him, smoking cigarettes and just
she
showing
wasn't
her.
smoking cigarettes.
Well, he was.
Yeah. Well, she started doing it when she was 12. Started racing when she was 12.
That's right.
And there's a photo on her website of her with her grandpa holding up a welding torch.
Wow. Yeah. She's amazing story.
Yeah, good story, and we'll touch upon a little bit about how she's making connections here at the FMA annual meeting and actually striking relationships with people that she can consider mentors as she makes her way in the metal fabricating world.
Yeah.
So I think that'll be pretty interesting.
Yeah. And as of right now, she's just getting ready to participate in the Gen Z panel at the conference here.
Yeah.
And they asked her at the last second too. She wasn't asked until I think Wednesday or Tuesday.
Right. So you'll get a nice abbreviated version of the Fabricator Podcast today, as we had a hard stop to get her on that panel.
Right. Yep.
So maybe it'll be a part 2 down the road to look forward to.
It'll be fun.
So stay tuned. You'll enjoy this episode. Emme Hughes, EH Metalworks from Enid, Oklahoma, home of Mark Price, former Cleveland Cavalier.
Yes.
Yep. And as she asked us, is he famous?
Yeah.
So
She said, he still lives in Eden too.
Well, they live in the same neighborhood.
She walked on the street
I don't
and
even
asked
know
it.
if that made the conversation. So there you go. You're getting a little bit extra right now.
Yeah.
So anyway.
We're more excited about it, I think.
Yeah,
than she was.
we were.
Definitely.
A player from the 1980s who played in the NBA. Yeah.
The future is our children, so we must teach them well and let them lead the way.
Yeah, yes.
On that note, enjoy this episode. Thank you and enjoy.
Tight project timelines require a partner you can trust. CMC, a leader in early-stage construction, delivers the reliability you need to keep projects moving forward. From ready-to-use precast concrete to highly efficient geogrids, CMC provides high-performing materials to help you maintain quality and stay on schedule. Partner with CMC to build smarter, faster, and more reliably. Visit cmc.com to learn more. And now, back to the episode.
Welcome back to the Fabricator Podcast. Thanks for joining us today from Clearwater Beach, Florida, here at the FMA annual meeting, chatting with Emme Hughes. And you're pretty popular around here, Emme.
I guess.
Old people in the metal fabricating industry love when young people get involved and come to their meetings.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with metal fabricating.
Okay, so my name is Emme. As you stated, I'm from Enid, Oklahoma, and I'm 23. I started my fabrication business when I was 18 because my papa has been in the industry for 50 years.
Wow.
And I wasn't in the kitchen. I was with him all the time, racing race cars and doing all the things.
So you mentioned it. Was it like dirt track?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sprint cars, micro
Yeah.
sprint cars. I don't know if you've ever heard of the Chili Bowl.
Uh-uh.
Okay, so it's a big race in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
But I raced the Tulsa Shootout, which was before the Chili Bowl. Anyways, but it all just like rolled together of, being in the shop, working on the race car,
Right.
Fixing the cage on the race car, tigging it, And I've welded since I was 6.
Yeah.
And I've been
Wow.
in business 4 years now.
So what kind of cars are we talking about? Are they open cages or they're
they're
like
op-
late model?
They're open.
Okay.
So open
A
wheel.
lot of tube.
Yes. So there's a lot of metal manufacturing in the sprint car
Oh,
and
yeah.
any racing industry,
Yeah.
right?
How big of motors are we talking about?
So the motors that I had were 600cc
Okay.
Yamaha Suzuki fuel injected.
Yeah.
Alcohol. It's ran on alcohol, so it's very loud and it's like screaming. That's why I can't hear. I think
Yeah.
because I can hear, but when people are talking, it's like muffled.
Right.
Because I've raced so long. I've raced since I was 6 also.
Wow.
And so racing from 6 to I retired last year to focus on my business, but it really just has
Done a number on you.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
I've
What made you
aged.
decide to start a business?
my pawpaw. So I was never good at school. I could make friends,
Right.
but I couldn't pass the test. I was a CD student, which C's and D's get degrees.
Right.
There you go. That's what I
Hey.
told my
Preach.
son.
But I just didn't care to, be good in school. I would rather be in the shop racing and
Right.
building stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I got out of high school, I graduated, and then my mom's like, you have to go to college.
Yeah.
Because she's an RN. So she went through college and all the things. And so I started going to college for a little bit, and COVID hit. So we
Oh.
were doing online, and I'll tell you what, I couldn't get through like the math, the accounting, none of that.
Right.
And so I was finally like, I can't do this. And I don't remember. Wait. So I'm trying to think how that worked. I didn't finish, so I don't have a degree, but I am like 2 semesters away, like 2 classes
No kidding.
away from having a degree, but
Yeah.
I really don't care to have one.
Right.
And so I forgot mom told me that if you quit college, we won't pay for the last semester.
Oh.
And so she didn't pay for that, and I didn't know. And I have these debt collectors calling me like,
Ah.
you need to pay your stuff. And I'm like, I'm running a business. Like, what are you talking about? NOC, no, it's Northern Oklahoma College. And so I just worked, paid that off with my metal fab stuff. But Papa told me, essentially, after I dropped out of college, you have to learn how to make a living. You have to make some money. I don't want you to rely on a man for the rest of your life.
Mm.
And so, unless it's him,
Right.
but that's different.
Yeah.
And so I started my own company, and he had a bunch of, well, let me kind of back up a little bit. So he owned an ASME code shop.
Oh.
But before that, he worked for the union as a contractor in refineries doing work, and he had like 30 guys working underneath him.
Oh, wow.
So they had an LLC, and were contracted with Champlin Refinery.
Right.
And then they shut down Champlin Refinery, and they got paid to cut it down too. He always liked to add that part, And so he moved from the Champlin Refinery into the ASME code shop with his brothers, and then he got bought out by his brothers, and then he went and opened his own fabrication business, and he just had 2 main customers, which it was Ditch Witch, which is known as
Right.
Toro.
Oh yeah.
He was in really good with them. He had a lot of consistent work from them, and then he did like grain elevator work.
Sure.
So he was making handrails, getting things up to code with OSHA, because it was cheaper for him to come in and fix
Right.
everything than it would be to pay all of OSHA's fines.
Right.
And so he did that for a long time, but he worked until he was 70.
Wow.
And so I was always with them, in the pickup, listening to Reba.
Out in the field too. Huh?
Yeah, I would go
Okay.
everywhere with him.
Nice.
And he'd be smoking a cigarette, and I'd be like, But he shaped my entire
Mm-hmm.
life from racing because he raced for years too.
Okay.
And everyone knows him in Oklahoma for being like a very dominant figure in the racing world and in the fabrication world because he was in it for 50 years. So I just learned how to run the plasma table that he had and taught myself how to design. I had a little bit of mentorship locally from a guy that does that. He owns a machine shop in town. And I just took the little bit of information that he gave me, and I would stay up to like 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, just trying to draw whatever I was trying to cut, right? And fell in love with it. And then I made a post on Facebook, and it just like, I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have anything. I just knew that I loved, you know, working with metal, being able to carry on a legacy and hang out with my pawpaw, right? So that's how it got started, essentially.
When did the official start of the business occur?
Okay, so it was September 15th, 2021. So I'm over 4 years in business, almost 5. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's really cool. I mean, so at age 18, you're crossing a bridge that a lot of people never get to, starting your own business.
Absolutely.
What did you find as the most difficult thing as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur? What were the most difficult things in getting started?
So honestly, getting started, I didn't even know I was getting started, right? Because I was just doing what I love, and it was working because I had a passion for what I was doing. And I think it was clear, you know, I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the relationships. I'm in it for learning something new every day, because all that money doesn't go with you.
Right.
Yeah.
But all the relationships you've made, you know, like the ones I've made at FMA just this week, will be with me for the rest of my life, you know? But essentially the biggest struggles, I think, once time went on, was finding, you know, I'm hiring men that are in their late 50s, right? And I'm 18, 19, 20, you know, going through these phases of life. And there's a lot of things in fabrication that I have not done because A, I haven't been around long enough to do it. B, I'm figuring things out as I go, reaching out to mentors, trying to like find the best path for my company.
Sure.
And when I'm trying to tell them something to do, they have a hard time respecting that because they're like, how am I in my late 50s and a woman, first off,
Right.
and a not even mid 20s, early 20s woman is telling me what to do.
Someone the age of their kids.
Yes. And so it takes a very specific man to be able to have the ego.
Right.
I'm not trying to like
no.
sound
No, I think-
abrasive, but
They gotta have some humility to them.
yes, and a lot of
Well,
men don't.
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff happening in this world because of lack of humility. So
Yeah. So I've had a lot of turnover,
Have you?
and it sucks because, you know, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm abrasive at times, but you have to be.
Right.
You have to set boundaries and say, hey, you're not going to talk to me like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that writes your paycheck. And if you want to get paid, you need to do what I say.
Right.
You know, and sometimes that still doesn't even work. But I think as time progresses, and now that I have the FMA as like, to me, it's like a big family.
Yeah.
Like you were like a reunion, but I have people like Sarah Richards, right?
Right.
She took me under her wing, and I know that I could call her at any time and be like, hey,
bet.
what would you do in this situation?
Yeah.
How can I create ways to make it to where when they come into the company, they already know the set of expectations that I hold for
Right.
them.
Well, she's been doing that for decades, where you're
Yeah.
contending with the same issues
Yeah.
that you
So
are.
Sarah Richards with Jones Metal in Mankato, Minnesota. And
Yes.
You reached out directly to her, right?
I did, yeah. Actually,
How did you come across her? Just a web search or?
AI.
There you go.
So we've been learning about AI this week.
Right.
And I use AI every day, like before we even learned about it today. And I was looking up, I'm like, I have to find a mentor. Because Pawpaw passed away about a year ago.
Okay.
Oh.
But sometimes he didn't even have the answer for me because he's never been in my shoes.
Right.
He was in his he was in his 30s, 40s when he opened his company, and he's a man. So, I mean, you can't. Well, the first company, he was younger than that. But you know what I'm saying?
Completely different
It's a
worlds.
completely different dynamic.
Right.
And he's like, he called me EJ. EJ, you know, they're just not going to respect you. And I'm like, that's not how this is going to work. And he would just go like this all the time, like, what have I created? And he always used to say, sometimes I think I've hurt you more than I've helped you. But joking, because he spoiled me and, you know, all the things. But it's gaining respect from people. But how do you gain respect from someone when you're automatically, like, employing them, right? It's hard to find that happy medium, and that's something that I struggle with, like, every day.
Yeah. So
Right.
how many people, what's the name of your company and how many people working for you?
So it's EH Metalworks.
Okay.
So it's Emme Hughes
Gotcha.
Metalworks. And I had 6 people at one point, but it was because Pawpaw was trying to show me I didn't need that many people. And, you know, teach me a lesson of you can have a bunch of work, but that doesn't mean you hire a bunch of people just because you're busy for 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, because I'm still in the beginning stages. Even though I'm almost 5 years into this, the consistency is not there.
Right.
Because A, I haven't made the connections. B, I'm still learning. C, I mean, there's so many factors, right? But it's just a struggle all the time, but I love it. And I'm like always trying to figure out ways to make things easier. Not easier, but say, okay, well, I did that last time and that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So let me try to do it this way.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I found Sarah Richards back to that because I was like, I have to have a mentor in this space that's been where I'm at, that has the same, you know, dynamic-ish, you know, because mine's a little bit unique. Not a lot unique, but, you know, that's been in the industry, that's a leader in the industry, that's a woman that, you know, has a passion for what they're doing and that is respected.
Right.
You know? And so I was ChatGPTing how many women-owned fabrication businesses are there, like, worldwide?
Right.
And there's, like, probably, I think 90% of this industry is male.
Sure.
That's
So
believable.
that's 10%. And I don't even think there's 10% of women-owned welding and fabrication manufacturing companies in.
So honestly, some of them are it's a paperwork thing, right? So certified women-owned business, they're able to kind of do business with the government. I mean,
Yes.
not to suggest that all of them are like that, but most of them are kind of they're done for business reasons.
Absolutely. And it's a lot of what I've noticed, and it kind of, you know, hurts my heart. I'm like, oh, these are women-owned businesses, but her husband really does everything, you know, which is totally fine. I get it.
Right.
But I'm like, I wish that they would like jump in there and try to like, you know, like Sarah has. She's jumped into it. She's learning all the things about everything.
So she's done quite a bit in terms of, I mean, you kind of mentioned early on some of the frustration you've had with people.
Yeah.
And she's taken a lot of steps to kind of like work on the culture there at her own shop. And I'm sure maybe y'all have talked about that.
Yes, and I'm excited to have more conversations about that when we have more, you know, time not constantly going, right? But that honestly is my biggest struggle now.
Yeah.
And eventually when I grow, I think the solution to that, and I hate to say this, but is to hire a foreman over each aspect of the shop. So like, let's say we're manufacturing A over here. I have a foreman that's over this portion of the shop, then the foreman over this, and the foreman reports to me. And I don't have any type of, I mean, obviously I have a relationship with my employees, but it's not like I'm not the mean guy all the time. You know what I'm saying? And if they're mad, they're going to get mad at the foreman. But then it goes back to the same thing, is I have to find the foremans that respect me as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of a catch-22, but
Yeah.
I love it, like I said.
So are you to the point where you're not spending as much time doing the stuff that you did with your grandfather?
So I'm at the point in my business where I don't do any of the welding and fab side, but I quote, I wash the dishes, I do all the CAD work, design work, I cut everything on the laser, because no one else can run the laser, the plasma, or anything. When it comes to machinery, I am over that aspect still, and it gets overwhelming at times.
Right.
Because I have customers coming in, then I have people wanting a quote,
Yeah.
and then I have employees coming to me saying, Emmy, we need a chop saw blade. And I just bought one. I'm like, how are you already burned this chop saw blade up? Like $200? What? You know, and then I have all these things going on. And then I'm involved in locally in things. So nonprofit organizations and stuff like that, which it just gets to where I have so much going on that I don't mean to be unorganized, but how do you organize all of those things and stay on track? So I'm kind of in a situation where I'm able to let go of the fabrication side, not let go because I'm managing it, but not have to be in there doing it. But then sometimes I have to stay late and do it, which is part of it, right? But at times it gets very mentally exhausting because then, you know, you still have a life outside of work.
Right.
But all I know is work. So I have nothing else to talk about but work. And then no one knows what I'm talking about when I'm talking about work because it's a bunch of words that don't make any sense to anyone.
What's TIG?
Yeah, what's a TIG? I'm like, you just need to, yeah. But it's a lot, especially, you know, when you have an experienced life, really. Like everyday life, right? So
do you find yourself feeling like a bit of fish out of water, like in a lot of arenas? I mean, or do you feel like this is what I want to do, this is what I'm good at, and so I'm just all in?
I'm all in.
Yeah.
So I don't ever feel like a fish out of water at any times. I'm the first to admit if I don't know something, and I don't care if you're a large customer, I'll say, hey, I've never done this before, but I have people that can help me, and if you'll give me a chance on it, I'll make it right. Whether I have to cut it up and redo it, which I've done that.
Right.
But if I tell you I'm going to get something done and make it good, I'm going to figure out how to do it. I might lose money.
Right.
Because I'm learning, but in the same breath, to me, it's about you carry your word. So if I tell you, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it.
Right.
No matter if I'm limping because I have blisters on my heels. You know what I'm saying? You have to be all in or it won't work.
Right.
Right.
How do you go about finding customers?
Customers? Well, I've been super lucky locally, and I've had a lot of publications and stuff that have helped get business. But I do a lot of cold calling.
Wow.
I'll walk in places and just be like, hey, I would love to have your business.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm sales also. So I'm able to sell my services and then come back and be like, wait, what did they say they wanted? Because I've said so much stuff that I don't even remember.
Right.
And I'm like, I need to have the AI thing sitting in my pocket and like copying what we're saying. But that's how I get customers majority of the time is I just cold call. I reach out. I go to the places and walk in and say, what can I do to help you? You know, and it's not, like I said, it's not about the money. It's about the experience.
Right.
And so finding companies that like sub work, right?
Right.
Finding people that won't take advantage of you also because you are young is another thing I've ran into. Like, oh, if we tell her that it needs to be done for $3,000, she won't know any different. And I don't because I don't know what sub work goes for.
Oh, geez.
And
have you experienced that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
And back to FMA, now that I've found this group of people that know all of the ins and outs of everything, I can call someone up and be like, hey, is this right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But before, I would just go through the motions and hope that they're, you know, doing me right. And then when I found out they're not, I'm like, okay.
Keep that in the memory bank.
That sucks. But I don't do business with them, you know?
Right.
So it's a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those deals where you're not going to find that answer on ChatGPT, right?
You're not.
You need to have someone who's been in the industry and ask that question. Or as most, go ahead.
I was going to say, it sounds like you found more value out of networking than like a standard education.
Yeah. I mean, I think networking is the heart of any business, right? Yeah. You have to have, Papa would always say, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for some damn good friends.
Yeah.
You know, and excuse my language, but I'll tell you what, friendships are what make you successful.
Well, you'll hear that here everywhere. I mean, the relationships, the relationship-based environment of this industry,
especially early on,
is kind of legendary. It's people will tell you that from like multi-million dollar companies. The relationships we've built over the years mean everything to us, and that's what we're going to keep. I'm interested to learn about when you first started. You opened up, you started working for people. What were the first things you were doing? What kind of work were you doing for the first folks that you got paid to serve?
Okay, so the first job I think I got was just signage. I was posting on Facebook. I was making videos like, hey, you guys want to buy some of these metal Christmas trees? Like selling. I sold a bunch of 3D cactuses, like 200 of them. You drive in the neighborhoods around Enid and there's a cactus. And I'm like, I don't even have one because I sold them all. But, and then it kind of moved into the fabrication side. So I built a gate, a 30-foot gate for a ski lodge, a private, neighborhood that has a ski lake in the middle of it. And one of the guys that lived out there, it's like you have to
water skiing.
Yeah, water ski.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, not
We're
snow
from the
ski.
Midwest.
I forget that you guys aren't from
Snow?
Oklahoma.
I literally trying to think of a giant mountain in Oklahoma. I'm like,
No.
maybe it's tall enough. I don't know.
It's a pond that was dug with equipment and filled with water, and
All right,
fish
I'm
are
in the
put
game now, Coach.
Yes.
Okay.
So redneck-ish.
I'm with you.
Hey, this redneck thinks there's a mountain in Oklahoma.
Yeah,
So.
well, there probably could be some. Knowing us, it'll be mud.
I was about to
but-
say, you just get a backhoe and start
Yeah.
dropping dirt.
But I knew someone that recently bought a piece of property in that housing addition, and I go to the Church of Christ, and they went to church with us. It was Mamaw's best friend's husband. It's back to relationships, right?
Yeah.
And we were eating at Rib Crib, and I remember it.
As one does.
I feel like I'm going to
Yes.
know every place in Enid by the time
You need to come see
interview's
me.
over.
Yes.
Rib crib sounds fun.
I want Rib Crib
is-
now.
Is amazing. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Mexican food, but
Yeah.
Rib Crib is amazing.
Best coleslaw in town, too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there, and his name's Wayne. He owned a fab business outside of town, and he built truck beds for farmers, and he was very successful in that, and he recently passed away because this older generation
Well, that's quite accurate.
is going away, and all that knowledge and all of that information is just like, I'm trying to learn as much as I can from these folks because I want to be able to carry that into my generation and generations below me, right? I don't want them to have to rely on automated systems. Right. I want them to understand the science behind, okay, if I need to cut this piece of tubing, do I cut it on the inside line or the outside line to get my overall measurement? That's a small little thing, but if we turn to automation, all of that core knowledge that's up here is going to be gone. So my goal is to carry on that core knowledge. I can't focus on that because I have to stay with the times, but being able to teach the old school ways of doing things, like, hey, back in the day, we didn't have a laser cutting machine that I could set a piece of angle iron up there and slot it.
Right.
You have to draw it out and measure it out on the angle iron and get your torch and, cut it out, right? But essentially, back to what I was saying, I go all over the place.
You're doing pretty good.
But he says, do you want to build a gate? And I was like, what? Because I'm still like, I just cut metal at this point. Right. And he was like, yeah, here's a drawing of it. And I look, and I'm like, yeah, I can build it. I had no idea what I was looking at, right? I had no idea. And I was like, yeah, I can build it. And so Papa never went to church with us. He always stayed home, and he went to cowboy church on Thursdays, but he wasn't going to get up on Sunday.
Yeah.
Mama, absolutely. She really embedded that into me. But I brought it home to Papa. I said, can we build this? He's like, oh, yeah. No big deal.
Wow.
And so he essentially quoted the whole entire process. And Papa was kind of like, I wish he would have allowed me to do more. Even in the racing world, he would just be like, I'll do it. And I'm like, I want to know what you're doing. And then he'd teach me, and then I'd be like, why are you doing it that way? He'd be like, I'm not here to argue with you, but, it's just family, right? And so he quoted it, and we submitted the bid to the board of people that live out there.
Yeah.
HOA or whatever.
Yeah, HOA, and we got the job.
There you go.
And I have a funny story about this, actually. I was spending, it took me a week to build this gate. Cut all the tubing. It was like square tubing around it, then, the pickets inside, and then I cut a piece of art to go on the front of it. Someone water skiing on the front.
Water skiing, dude.
Water skiing. And I was in there literally welding for 5 days.
Wow.
And I was a TIG welder. I'm not a MIG welder back then. And I was, we had it hanging with the hoist, so we tacked everything. And he told me you have to skip around. You can't weld both of these right next to each other. So I would go from one end of the gate to the other end of the gate. And I was up at 6 in the morning in there getting to work. And I got it all welded. And Papa always sat at his desk. Like, we have, the stainless steel desk that he would just sit at and drink coffee and smoke cigarettes. Marlboro Ultralight 100s, by the way. And he would just sit there.
It's a good telling detail.
And he lost his vision. So he had macular degeneration and cancer and all the things. He was hard on himself, right? All he did was work. And I get done and I'm like, so proud of myself. I'm 18. I'm like, I just, this gate looks awesome. And Papa walks over to it and he goes, all these welds look like shit on a white horse. Grind them off. Start over. I had spent a week doing this, and I went directly into the bathroom. I'm not a crier.
Right.
And I'm just, crying, and I come out, and I'm like, why did they look bad? He said, you overdid it. You over-welded. And I'm like, what do you mean I over-welded? He goes, you were trying too hard. And I'm like,
wow.
Okay. So I was like, I would lay a bead down, and in TIG welding, you can go back over the bead that you laid down, right? And I was just going back over it if I didn't like it, thinking that it was,
He's building up all this filler metal.
And he knew that I was doing it because he could hear it. He was like, you were long arcing, you were doing all the things, and he just wasn't telling me because he knew that if he would have walked over and tried to tell me, I would have been like, why are you trying to tell me what to do? And so the way I learn is to go through these things and say, I won't do that again because I spent a week. And then I spent another 3 days grinding all these welds off.
Right.
Oof.
But that was a first big job, I would say, that I got.
You will not forget that.
No. And it looks good because I had to grind them all off and redo it.
Right.
Yeah.
But
No better way to learn.
yes. And then we went into another project with my mandrel tube bender. So we bent a bunch of candy cane looking pipes, black pipe, and it went around a church playground. And so that was a big job for us.
It's a tight radius for black pipe.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And so Papa had a way of making things work, right, with the equipment we had, because when he had his fab shop, he had everything he needed, and he never expected that I would, want to get into what I'm doing. And so he auctioned everything off that he used for his fabrication business and kept things for the race car. So the mandrel bender was to build bumpers and, frames and stuff like that. And we were bending this pipe, and I'll tell you what, the shoe barely worked because it was so tight, the radius.
Right.
And we had to get a hammer, and it would get in a bind, and then we'd be beating it with a hammer to get it out of the shoe. And it wasn't bent caved in or anything. It looked great.
Right.
But every single bend, you had to just beat that.
Wow.
But it's like you have to start somewhere. So I'm using what I have to make a product that someone in Arizona could have done in a couple of hours because they have CNC mandrel benders and stuff like that.
Right.
But that's my goal, is to grow up to the point where I can have all the right equipment for what I'm doing and not have to make something work and it still look good, because I can make it look good, but it's just not as profitable. Right. And so, that's where the two biggest projects that really launched the fabrication side of my business.
So are you doing more production parts now that you have a laser? And when did you get the laser?
So I got the laser about a year ago. I got a grant from the federal government for that. And essentially, if I'm honest with you, Oklahoma is kind of a hard area to find consistent work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, especially in Enid, there's really not much happening when it comes to like building and stuff, and there's no companies in town that have that are very put together and have a bunch of work and want to sub it out.
Not a lot of industry.
Not a lot of industry. And so I have to travel to get that work. And so
How far?
Tulsa, Oklahoma City, you know, I have to meet with these people, go to a bunch of events, but in the same breath, what are the guys doing? A lot of work comes to me, but when it's done, it's done. So I'm having a problem finding my niche, finding what, you know, the two things that keep us the doors open, the lights on.
Right.
And then everything else is just window dressing, you know, after that. But it takes time to do that. So managing my time is what I've been struggling with to keep, you know, the laser should be running every day, all day. The plasma should be running every day, all day. All my equipment should be somehow utilized daily to be making a profit.
Right.
But that's going to take time. And I have a bunch of equipment. The shop's 10,000 square foot. So I have room to expand, room to get more things, but I got to find that consistency and that niche of, you know, what do we need to do here?
And just Enid is kind of hour and a half north of Oklahoma City.
So I'm directionally challenged.
Obviously, I am.
It's an hour and a half from Enid to Oklahoma City, and then to Tulsa it's 2.
Okay, so yeah, so you got a little bit of ways to go.
Yes, but I want to create a hub in Enid to where let's grow. Let's have more industry here. Let's work as a team. Let me be able to find these niches. And, you know, then if someone wants to start a company like I did, they can come to me and say, like, hey, do you think you could sub out some parts or something that I can cut and get my feet wet? And I want to be able to be like, heck yeah, you know, here's the work.
Right.
It's not just for the money. It's the relationship I'm going to build with this person that's going to benefit from all the networking and hard work that I put into the company.
I mean, a lot of shops that I talk to for the magazine do the sub work, and then they end up forming a relationship with that customer, and all of a sudden they've got that longer term work that you're talking about.
Yeah, because if I look at it as if everything would just stop.
Yeah.
And you're sitting in a room full of people that you've done business with. I want to be able to be like, hey, buddy, what's up?
Right.
I don't want to be like, I'm not going to talk to him because he did this and that. We need to work together.
Yeah.
We need to help each other. There's plenty of work for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what I'm trying to build in my town in Oklahoma because it's, you know, it's a need.
Right.
I think.
So a lot of shops will go out of their way to not hire older workers because they think they bring like habits, good or bad, to their shop. And when people say, I often find they want skilled workers, they're literally, it's a euphemism for, we need younger people who are eager to learn and learn our way of doing things. So when you mentioned you've had older guys working with you, that's kind of interesting to me. Was that more of like it's just what was available as opposed to what would be your best case scenario for people working in your shop?
So I have a method in my madness with that. I'm like, okay, I'm lacking experience. I need to find someone that's done it.
Right.
To come in and teach me and then teach the people that come in. Right? So my ideal vision of my company is to have 4 old men that are retired, that have been in the industry 60 some odd years, that don't want to sit at the house and watch TV all day, and they want to be able to carry on what they've learned over the years. And bring in these people from the tech school that are trying to get their feet wet, trying to start a career, trying to have, you know, something to have a passion for, and be able to have them come in and have plenty of work for them to learn, how do I weld in the real times? You know what I'm saying? In the shop, how does this dynamic work? I want to like be able to teach people, whether they stay with me a year or 5 years. They might learn this isn't something I want to do. But thank goodness they learned that at 19 and they didn't learn it at 45 where they're like, I can't do anything about it now. You know, and so my ideal vision would be A, have enough work, 2, then hire more people, teach more younger people, right? And then grow Oklahoma's manufacturing and metal fab. So that's my ideal vision, but it takes a lot longer than 4 years. You know,
that's a huge vision. Are you finding people? Finding tech school relationships out there?
Yes, that was honestly one of my first relationships I formed. My papa told me when I first started, he said, there's people that work for the government that are paid to help people like you when you start a business. And so I went to Autry Technology Center, and they have a business center that's completely free. You come in and you sign up. You're like, this is what I want to do, whether you want to bake cookies, whether you want to, have a hair salon. You sit down with a consultant that knows business, that's been there, help you open an LLC, help you figure out all the things that you need for your business to be successful when you first start.
Yeah.
Because not everyone has a mentor like I had that's been in business for 50 years
Right.
to lean on. You know what I'm saying? They'll help you find funding. They'll help you find connections within the state and get you into networking events. And that's where it all started was, I need to take what I have locally and just max it out. Get as much as I can, learn as much as I can. And then when you reach that cap, you got to be, unless you're good with staying where you're at, right? But my goal is to be a large manufacturer that's able to help people and sub work out to them. And you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so the tech schools, they have a welding program, which is amazing. And they have a CNC program where they can literally go to Autry and learn whatever they want. And they can go while they're going to high school too. And so they can go half a day to welding. And then by the time they're graduated, they have their certs. They have, basic knowledge of how to be in the industry.
Right.
So they can go work for Toro. They can go work for, some wherever. They could go to, Maryland and have a job.
Right.
But the tech schools are very, very good, I think, to lean on because you can get people in to shadow. People come shadow the shop all the time and just say, okay, this is cool.
Right.
This is something I want to do. This is something I don't want to do. And the tech school has definitely helped me tremendously with the growth of my company locally.
Cool.
Right. So I want to ask this before we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
You've actually, I think you used the term, you've had fun at this FMA event.
Oh, yes.
Tell us why you think you've gotten a lot out of it and what makes you think that this has been good for you.
So first off, the energy. The energy of FMA. Everyone is willing to help one another. Genuinely.
Yeah.
They just want to help. Like Sarah, she didn't have to respond to my email and say, hey, I want to help you. I want to get you involved. You know what I'm saying? The vibe of that just is so uplifting.
Right.
And then to be able to sit in a room with people and talk the same language and be able to talk about some struggles in the industry. Because I don't care if I'm in Oklahoma and you're in, wherever, we're having the same struggles because it's the industry, right? And so I've had so much fun because I'm meeting people that have the same mindset that I do.
Right.
And people in Enid are like, oh, just be realistic. I'm not realistic. And these people probably weren't either when they first started.
Well, I think there's something to that about being an entrepreneur, right?
Yes.
You got to think about a little bit beyond realistic, right?
Yes.
You got to be outside a little bit outside your head too.
Yeah,
'Cause
absolutely.
otherwise you wouldn't take the risk.
Right?
Yeah, just in here, I was like, I need to create a women PPE brand where I can make gloves. My brain automatically does that where I'm like, how can I do something different that helps the industry, that helps women in the industry, Fireproof leggings. Come on, that would be amazing. And I'm sure they make some, but make some that are actually comfortable. Make some that actually fit. Make gloves that actually fit. Make hoods that have different, like I have a pink cheetah print hood that I wrapped in sticker because there wasn't any options for what I want. Like be able to go on this website and order whatever type of custom hood you want and gloves and shoes and leggings and sweatshirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But having that mindset of, being involved in the industry in as many ways as you can and growing it. And it just takes a specific mind for that. And some people don't have that. Right. But everyone here does.
Yeah.
And so the amount of information that they have just in here too, based on their experience, is amazing.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's great you've gotten so much out of it.
Yeah, and I'm thankful that, like, again, back to Sarah, if she would have not responded, this would have never happened.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, so kudos to her. We need to, like, put her logo up and be like, Jones Metal, and then, like, bow down.
Will you have a chance to go visit her?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I want to go down to her facility and see everything, and
Yeah.
so we'll see if we can get that figured out. But
Have you been to Minnesota before?
never.
You should wait till it's cold.
This is my
Like
first
next
time in
winter.
Florida.
They actually have
Really?
snow. Wow.
Wow.
They actually have snow skiing in Minnesota.
I would
Well-
break a leg, so I better not. I'll watch.
There's
Snow
kiddie
skiing.
slopes. You'll be fine. You figure it out. You always do.
Yes, but I just want to say, like, if you are able to get involved in FMA, do it.
There you go.
I don't care if you're 16 and just think about wanting to open a company. You can, you might not want to open a company after you talk to some of these people and find that you can go work for them in Texas and be a quality manager
Yeah.
or something, and still be in the industry. So I really think pushing younger people to learn from these older individuals that have been through it, that understand the dynamic of running a company and doing things manually per se,
Right.
carrying on that industry skill, and we need more of it.
Yeah. Well, you're going to be on a panel talking with some other younger, not as young as you, I don't
Yeah.
think, but
In 7 minutes.
Oh, it's 7 minutes?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
well,
we're going
we
to watch
better-
out for you. Thanks for joining us
Of
today.
course.
Where can they find out more information about EH Welding?
I have a LinkedIn page.
Mhm.
It's just Emme Hughes, but I did open a LinkedIn business page, which I haven't promoted yet. Haven't
Right.
had time. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook, TikTok,
Your website.
Gotcha.
my website, www.ehmetalworks.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good on a mobile phone, so look on a computer. But you can find me, you can Google and I'll pop up.
Cool.
So
Well, thanks for joining us today. Please send your comments, criticisms, complaints to podcast@fmamfg.org. And we appreciate your time, Emme.
thank you guys. I
Thanks a
appreciate
lot.
y'all.
See ya.
The Fabricator Podcast is a production of the Fabricators and Manufacturers Association. The show is hosted by Dan Davis and Lincoln Bruner. The podcast is produced by Gareth Slager, recorded by Griffin Hammond, and edited by Dana Weicker. Additional support provided by Andy Flando, Elizabeth Gavin, Sarah Spring, Amy Hudson, Mike Owens, Billy Culpa, and Pat Simon. If you like this podcast, check out the FMA Podcast Network. Thank you for listening.
All right. I'm in the game now, Coach.